Okay, there's 30 cows in a field and 28 chickens. How many didn't? How many didn't what? God. There's 30 cows in a field and 28 chickens. How many didn't? How many didn't what? I don't know. I don't know. 30 cows in a field, 28 chickens. How many didn't? Oh, who cares at this point? That's not why you're here. Good evening, everybody in YouTube land. Yes. Um, so this video is about the leather sheath I'm making for that awesome uh, lockback knife that Jake from Dark Wolfe Knives sent me. Um, I'm just starting it. That's why I wanted to bring you along and show you. And what are you guys doing here anyway? Don't you know there's a hurricane coming to North Carolina? You really shouldn't be out this way. Yeah, it's still a Category 4 in the Bahamas, heading up the coast. Should be here sometime late tomorrow weekend. Um, they've put the whole state of North Carolina in a state of emergency, so, but we're pretty good. We're 3 hours from the Outer Banks inland, so we should be pretty good. We have had rain the last 5 days, heavy, which has really bogged down the trees and limbs, and we've had some come down. That's what my main concern is, you know, the trees and stuff. We live up in the woods on a big hill, so flooding's not an issue. We're not around any rivers or streams or anything to speak of. So, yeah, waiting on Joaquin. Hopefully, by the time it hits the States and gets up to the Carolinas, it'll be categorized down to probably a Category 2, hopefully. So we don't get much damage. So no one gets damage and stuff. We don't want none of that. So, back to the reason why you're here. Enough with the weather report. Um, the leather sheath for the lockback that Jake sent me. Now here's a disclaimer. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm not a leather expert. I'm not even a leather novice. I've made a couple little things.
Look at all those chickens.
Okay, sorry about that. As I was saying, I don't know what I'm doing. Um, right now I'm just basically eyeballing it. Kind of have a picture in my head of what I want to do. I don't use templates or patterns, or I don't really measure anything. I just kind of look at it and say, that looks good. That looks good. So I have to do that. I do have some leather working tools, nothing extravagant. A lot of stuff I just find around the house or in the shop or whatever that works. I have bought some stuff at like Michael's or Hobby Lobby to use, but I don't have any big leather crafting kits or anything like that. So let me get up off my chair and go over and show you what I've got and get started. All right, see you in a few. Okay, we're back. So basically what I've done is I've soaked a piece of leather in this bowl and gotten it really, really wet. As a matter of fact, I soaked it overnight because the leather I use, let me show you. I get it from, like I said, Michael's or Hobby Lobby when it's raining. It's getting wet. And it's just a bag of scrap leather that's been used in other projects that they just get the straps and put it in a bag and sell it. There's like leather strings and straps, and then there's, you know, I'm doing this one-handed. Bigger pieces like this, and it's really stiff and really dry. So I just thought that I would soak it a little bit longer than you should. You should always normally soak it if you're using veg tan leather for like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, I guess. But everything that I've learned, I'm going to get this out of the bowl and blot it off on a little piece of towel here, just to get the excess water off. You don't really want it that wet. I mean, you want to be able to work with it, but boy, this one-handed stuff is amazing. You don't want it completely soaked. And what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to use this board to get the shape of it. And what I've done with the knife is, this is the knife that Jake sent me. It's in saran wrap, so you really can't see it. That's just to protect it. And I've taken and did a cutout of a thin piece of cardboard to allow just a little bit of extra room, so when you do it this way, and the leather shrinks, there's just a little bit of extra room that you're allowing for. Now, like I said, this isn't going to be a tutorial because, oh my god, I'd bore you into a coma. So, let me get it set up and show you how I mold the leather to the knife, and then I'll bring you back. Okay, so we're back, and I think I kind of butchered this piece of leather here, but let's take a look. So I put it down, I put the knife in, and I've stapled it to this board. I think I may have went a little too crazy there and didn't leave enough stitching in. But anyway, that's the fun of the project, right? Doesn't have to look perfect, as long as you made it. There's a way to jerry-rig everything, let me tell you. So what I'm doing is taking my sharpener here and just kind of forming in and get a good tight fit. Now this leather is really wet, so ideally if this board I had here was like heat resistant and smaller, I could just take it and put it in the oven at the lowest temperature setting. But it's not looking too bad. Like I said, the leather isn't, you know, it's not veg tan, it's not the best, it's just scrap leather. But you know what, I don't care, I'm making it, I'm having fun. So I just wanted to show you guys the wet forming on this. And then I'll probably take it in the house because it's really damp and wet and rainy out here, and hit it with the blow dryer a few times and get it dry, and I'll continue to form it to the knife here and see what we get. So when we're a little bit drier, and I'm really worried about that spot, but you know what, I'll fix it. So we're a little bit drier and it's formed. I'll bring you guys back. Thanks. Hey, welcome back everybody. The leather is now dry and removed from the board. It didn't come out too bad. Here's the knife. And this is how the knife fits in. It fits really good and snug. So what I've done is, I've outlined here with a pencil where I'm going to cut it out. So that's my next step, and I'll bring you back. Hey, welcome back everybody. The leather is now dry and removed from the board. It didn't come out too bad. Here's the knife. And this is how the knife fits in. It fits really good and snug. So what I've done is, I've outlined here with a pencil where I'm going to cut it out. So that's my next step, and I'll bring you back. So let's see where we're at with the sheath for that lovely Dark Wolfe knife. Okay, what we have is the, oh, he's got to bark every time I turn the camera on, is the molded front part of the sheath. It's all nice and dry. I've cut it out. Didn't come out too bad. Then what I have is a piece of like suede. So when I sew it onto the back, you see the back is rather rough here. And kind of ishy. So what I want to do is is we're going to put that, don't you start, we're going to put that in there. I'm just doing this one-handed, so it's a bit rough. Then we'll put the top on. You get my drift, right? And we'll have almost like a liner to it. And then the knife will have a nice, let me get my tripod and set this down. Hang on, much better. Okay, so this will be the back. And on the back is going to go the belt loop. But what I want to do with this belt loop yet is wet form it so it kind of sticks out for the belt. Now I don't wear a very wide belt, so, but that'll get stitched on there like that. And then this, after it's wet formed, will kind of get stitched on like that. So your belt loop is almost kind of, it won't be like sticking out that far because it's going to be wet formed. Get my fingers out of the way. Similar to that, and then stitched down here. But as you can see, it gives the sheath kind of like a liner looking look with the suede in there. And like that. And then you just boop. Now I debated on, it's crooked. It won't look that bad when it's done. I debated on whether or not I was going to put a piece of leather here and a snap and then run another piece of leather over it to snap. But you know what? I don't think it's necessary because this knife is not going to go anywhere once it's in there. I just kind of like the simplicity of it and the overall look of it. I mean, I think it's fine. I may dampen this and do like a design on it. I don't know yet. I just kind of like the simple look of it the way it is right now. And then that will kind of look like that. Hang on a minute. Kind of like that on the back for the belt clip. And I think that's all it needs, really. I mean, I just, like I said, I like it to be simple. And, you know, it's hard to work with the scrap leather because you don't always get the same colors. You don't always get the same consistency, I think I want to say, of the leather. And it's all just so different that it's really tough to work with. And, of course, once I mark out my holes here, my thread holes, whatever you want to call them, needle holes, I'll mark them out, and then I'll stitch it. I'll double stitch it all, and then when it's all, well, I'll also glue it. I'm going to glue this part, this suede part, to this and let that dry. And then I'll probably, I may or may not stick a ferro rod loop on this. I think it'll be too thick in this area to get another piece of leather in there, so I'm kind of going to forego, I am going to muzzle that dog. I'm going to forego the ferro rod loop on this for the time being. And I'm pretty sure after I'm done with this one that I'll probably make another one. Just because it's fun. But I did cut this part down here because prior to me cutting it, it was way up here and it didn't leave me any room really to get the knife out. So I cut a little swagger in there to get the knife out. But I think it looks kind of cool with that suede piece in there to kind of, you know, slide the knife and protect it and not wear this part of the leather out because it's pretty rough. I will condition all these pieces with wax and oil every time the camera's on and Teddy has to bark. So after it's all glued and stitched and done, I will sand all the edges down on this and make it nice and smooth and uniform. But this is where it's at right now. Has to have the stitching marks put in, and I just pretty much use a fork to go down the lines here, if you can see, like in this area, you know, all the way around. I'll mark them with a fork that I have specifically set aside for my leather work. Unbeknownst to the other half anyway, I kind of stole it and put it in my little leather kit box. And then I'll drill the holes because this leather is like really hard and thick. I'll drill the holes with a small drill bit, and then I'll commence the sewing. And after that's done, I'll show you what it looks like. And then after that, I'll get it sanded down and finished with a little bit of wax and oil. Should be kind of cool. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to wet form this over a metal bar that I have that's the same width. And then that'll get sewn there. Actually, I'll glue that first so it's in place. And then I can just go up underneath, mark the holes up underneath here. Bad lighting. And mark the holes. Sew that on. And then sew this part on the bottom. So when that's done, and it doesn't look too bad, I'll show you. But that's what it's like so far, not put together. Okay, this will be part 1. Look for part 2. Thanks for watching.